We're in part 2 of the eyeball, and the next part we're going to talk about is the retina. And I just wanted to keep this picture here because remember I told you the book uses terminology that says there's 3 layers to the eyeball. The outer is the sclera, the white part. The middle is that choroid that reduces glare. And I probably neglected to say that it also has a really good blood supply, a lot of blood vessels. And the deepest one is the retina. So notice that the retina also lines the inside of the eyeball, not the front part, but the sides and the back. Okay, so the retina is the deepest of the 3 layers. And the retina is the structure that contains the photoreceptors. So these are the receptors. Remember we said neurons can have specialized dendrites that are stimulated by different sensory things. And so photoreceptors are specialized dendrites that can detect light. And so we have 2 major kinds of photoreceptors. They're called the rods and the cones. So these are specialized neurons. And the rods are the receptors that detect they say they detect light. They detect light, but they do so in lower light. So rods can detect light in dim light, and they also can they do not detect colors. So rods detect images in dim light and do so in like shades of gray. The cones are the receptors that require bright light, and they detect color. And there's several different kinds of cones that detect different colors. So the retina has the photoreceptors. This is where the nervous tissue starts detecting the light. If you notice, like all the parts of the eye we talked about so far are just involved in getting the light, the light that's reflecting off whatever you're looking at. They're involved in getting that light to the retina. So here's the retina, this inner layer, and that's where the rods and the cones are, the photoreceptors. The retina has a portion called the fovea centralis. We look here, again, the light's going to come in the eye, through the lens, through the vitreous humor, and notice right here, there's this little dip called the fovea centralis. What that is, it's the part of the retina where whatever you're looking at is focused the most sharply. It's the part of the retina where your image is focused most sharply. Think about it. Look at the inside of the eyeball's round. So if I want to focus something here, it's going to be slightly out of focus on these parts that move away. And that's a function, that's something that we are looking at all day long and you don't even think about it. Pick anything. You can look at this video or look at something across the room or whatever, but look straight at something and don't move your eyeballs. Whatever you're looking straight at, that image is projected onto your fovea centralis, the middle of your retina. Okay, that's where your image is the sharpest. Now, while you're still looking at that specific object, notice your peripheral vision, your vision that goes to the sides. Don't move your eyeballs, look at your original object, and notice your peripheral vision. And what you'll notice is that your peripheral vision, your vision to the sides, is not quite as sharp as the image you're looking straight at. It's a little bit blurry. And that's because the image that you're looking straight at has been projected onto your fovea centralis, and the images of your peripheral vision is projected onto the inside of the eyeball away from the fovea, and so it's kind of curved, so it's not quite as in focus. Okay? So we've all done that. We have a camera, when we focus a camera, we know what that means. And if a little out of focus, you're going to be a little bit blurry. So you're going to be a little out of focus on the fringes outside of the fovea centralis. So the fovea centralis is the part of the retina where there's the sharpest vision. When we look directly at an object, it's focused onto those photoreceptors on the fovea. Okay. The next structure we're going to look at is the optic nerve. I'm going to go back to that picture. So here's the retina, all that nervous tissue, all those neurons. But notice all those neurons come together into one nerve. And one nerve comes out of the back of the eye, and it's called the optic nerve. You might remember from when we did nervous system that when we take the axons, all the axons of lots of neurons, all the axons together make up the nerve. So all the neurons that are making up this retina, the axons all come together and leave the eyeball as the optic nerve. So the optic nerve is carrying the sensory information from that entire retina. So it says the optic nerve is made of sensory fibers. You might remember sensory fibers are the axons of neurons. So the optic nerve is made of lots of axons from the neurons making up the retina. And those neurons are going to take those visual signals to the brain. The optic nerve is going to carry our visual signals to our brain. So everything that you're looking at has been processed through your eye. The image is projected onto the retina, and that image is transmitted by electrical signals to your brain. So just to give you an appreciation for that, without your eye could be working perfectly, but without the brain part or without your optic nerve, you wouldn't be able to see. Okay, we need that optic nerve, and we need that we need the part of the brain, I'll show you that in a minute, to process that sensory information, even if our eyes are working perfectly. So here's the retina lining the entire inside of the back of the eyeball, and the optic nerve. Notice right here, the optic nerve, and there's some blood vessels, kind of interrupt the retina. We have the nice retina going along, and all of a sudden there's a little, oh, no retina. Oh, we're back. There's some retina. Okay, there's a little break in the retina. So if we think about the retina kind of like the movie screen, all the light reflected off of what we're looking at is going through the eye and projected on this movie screen, except there's a little bit of a hole in the movie screen. And so we actually have a little break in our vision that's called the blind spot. So in this picture, they're showing you, we've got this retina. There's a little break in the retina where we don't have any photoreceptors. And we have something that we call the blind spot. And so, there's another picture of it. You can see there's a little break in the retina that we call the blind spot. In lab, we're going to I'm going to try to help you find your blind spot. It's a little tricky to find, but if you're persistent, you can find it. And the idea is we've got just a little spot on each side for each eye where we can't see anything, but we don't really notice it because our brain is used to that and kind of fills in. Like we don't see just a blank spot. Our brain kind of fills in the visual information, and that blind spot is not noticeable to us. But if you do it just right, there's techniques you can use to see, oh yeah, I can see where an image disappears. So try it out in lab. It's kind of fun to go see if you can find your blind spot. So a blind spot is the part of the retina interrupted by the optic nerve. The blind spot is the part of the retina interrupted by the optic nerve. So you don't have any visual, you don't have any photoreceptors there. Okay. There is a summary in your book. And remember I said the book is using that there's 3 layers. There's the sclera, the choroid, and the retina. And so it gives some information about those. Here it talks about the humors, the vitreous humor and the aqueous humor, transmitting light rays and supporting eyes. I would say even more important is that with the aqueous humor is providing the nutrients for the front of the eye. and supporting the eye definitely with the vitreous humor. But anyway, that's a good summary. You can look at that. Oh, this one I wanted to. I didn't do ciliary body, and I think there is a question in the lecture assignment that mentions ciliary body, but it's just the muscle that holds the lens in place and helps the lens focus. You can look that up if there's a question about it, but I'm not going to hold you responsible for that term. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how the eye focuses. Actually, this might be a good time to stop. I think I'll start the next video right here.